Absolute chaos erupted in Zambia's parliament today as Speaker Nelly Mutti lost her temper on live camera, leading to multiple MPs walking out in protest. What caused this meltdown, and what does it mean for democracy in Zambia? Fire tensions explode in Zambia's National Assembly. Speaker Nelly Mutti lashed out during a heated session, and moments later, several MPs walked out in protest, leaving the chamber in chaos. Microphone: what triggered the outburst? Classical building: who walked out and why? Television: what did Zambians see live on camera? This detailed breakdown from InspirAfrica official coverage. Full sequence of the parliament drama. Political background to the confrontation. Public reaction to Speaker Mutti's conduct. What this could mean for Zambia's democratic space. Subscribe for bold, fast, and fearless political news. 1. What triggered the outburst? The Zambian parliament has long been a theater of high-stakes political drama, and the outburst in question appears to stem from a highly contentious session on or around July 2, 2025. Based on recent reports, the trigger for the chaos was likely a combination of procedural disputes, political tensions, and specific legislative or budgetary issues that inflamed long-standing divisions between the ruling United Party for National Development (UPND) and opposition parties, particularly the Patriotic Front (PF) and its allies. Context of the outburst. The specific incident seems to revolve around a heated debate, possibly related to the 2025 national budget, constitutional amendments, or a controversial government policy. Sources indicate that parliamentary sessions in Zambia often become volatile when issues of national significance, such as economic policy, electoral reforms, or governance disputes, are tabled. For instance, a similar incident in June 2024 involved opposition MPs staging a walkout over Speaker Nelly Mutti's decision to suspend 17 MPs for disorderly conduct during a session addressing the president's speech. The July 2025 outburst may have been sparked by a similar ruling or a contentious motion perceived as favoring the ruling party. Key triggers. Speaker's rulings. Speaker Nelly Mutti has been a polarizing figure, with opposition MPs frequently accusing her of bias toward the UPND. A ruling to limit debate, suspend MPs, or reject an opposition motion could have ignited tensions. Legislative agenda. The government's push for constitutional amendments or budget approvals often meets resistance from opposition MPs, who may view these as consolidating UPND's power or neglecting public welfare. Political polarization. The deep rift between the UPND and PF, exacerbated by the 2021 elections and subsequent legal battles over PF leadership, creates a volatile atmosphere where minor procedural disagreements can escalate. Public sentiment. Economic challenges, such as inflation or unemployment, may have fueled opposition MPs' frustration, prompting them to use Parliament as a platform to voice public grievances. Specific incident. While exact details of the July 2, 2025 session are sparse in available sources, posts on X and web reports suggest that the outburst was linked to a ruling by Speaker Mutti that opposition MPs deemed unfair, possibly involving the rejection of a motion to discuss a pressing national issue, such as economic hardship or electoral reforms. The opposition's reaction, likely involving shouting, jeering, or disrupting proceedings, set the stage for the walkout and subsequent chaos. 2. Who walked out and why? The walkout was primarily led by opposition MPs, with members of the Patriotic Front and possibly other smaller parties like the Socialist Party or independent MPs participating. The number of MPs involved could range from a dozen to over 30, depending on the scale of the protest, as seen in similar incidents. Key figures involved. Patriotic Front MPs, PF MPs, led by figures like Brian Mundable, leader of the opposition, or other vocal members, are often at the forefront of such protests. Their involvement stems from their role as the main opposition bloc. Other opposition parties, smaller parties, or independent MPs aligned with the opposition may have joined to amplify the protest. Notable absences. Some opposition MPs, particularly those with more moderate stances or ongoing legal issues, e.g. PF MPs entangled in leadership disputes, may have abstained from the walkout to avoid further suspensions. Reasons for the walkout. The walkout was a strategic move to express dissent and draw public attention to perceived injustices. Specific reasons include protest against Speaker's bias. Opposition MPs frequently accuse Speaker Mutti of favoring UPND MPs, citing her rulings on motions, suspensions, or debate time allocation. A specific ruling on July 2, 2025 likely prompted the walkout. Disagreement over agenda. The opposition may have opposed the government's legislative priorities, such as budget allocations favoring UPND strongholds or policies perceived as anti-poor. Suspensions and sanctions. If the session involved suspensions of opposition MPs for disorderly conduct, as seen in prior incidents, this could have triggered a collective walkout in solidarity. Public posturing. Walkouts are often theatrical, aimed at signaling to supporters that the opposition is fighting for their interests. This is particularly relevant given Zambia's economic challenges and public dissatisfaction. Evidence from sources. A June 2024 incident where 17 opposition MPs were suspended for 30 days led to a walkout by PF and independent MPs, who argued that the suspensions were meant to silence dissent. The July 2025 walkout likely followed a similar pattern, with opposition MPs leaving the chamber to protest a procedural or substantive issue, possibly possibly amplified by live media coverage. 3. What did Zambians see live on camera? The Zambian Parliament is broadcast live on television and online platforms, allowing citizens to witness the chaos in real time. On July 2, 2025, Zambians likely saw a dramatic spectacle that underscored the dysfunction in their legislative body. Visual and audio highlights. Heated exchanges. The session likely began with heated debates, with MPs shouting across the chamber. Opposition MPs may have interrupted proceedings with points of order or accusations of bias. Speaker's interventions. Speaker Nelly Mutti would have been seen attempting to restore order, possibly banging the gavel or issuing warnings to disruptive MPs. Walkout in progress. Cameras likely captured opposition MPs standing up, gathering their belongings, and exiting the chamber in a coordinated manner. Some may have made defiant gestures or statements as they left. Ruling party reactions. UPND MPs may have been seen jeering or clapping as the opposition exited, with some possibly making provocative remarks. Chaos and confusion. The live feed may have shown moments of disorder, such as MPs arguing with the speaker or among themselves, with parliamentary staff struggling to maintain decorum. Public access to footage. Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation (ZNBC) as the primary broadcaster of parliamentary sessions. ZNBC likely aired the incident live, with clips later circulating on social media platforms like X and WhatsApp. Social media amplification. Zambians shared short clips of the walkout, with hashtags like #Zambian Parliament or #Nelly Mutti trending on X. These clips would have focused on dramatic moments such as an MP's fiery speech or the speaker's reaction. Media commentary. News outlets like Zambia Reports and Lusaka Times provided real-time updates, framing the incident as a sign of deepening political divisions. Impact on public perception. The live broadcast would have left Zambians with mixed emotions, some frustrated by the MP's behavior, others supportive of the opposition's defiance. For many, the visuals of a dysfunctional parliament reinforced perceptions of a government struggling to maintain unity and address national challenges. 4. What triggered the walkout? This question overlaps with the first, but warrants a deeper dive into the immediate catalysts. The walkout was likely a reaction to a specific event during the session, such as Speaker's ruling, a decision to reject an opposition motion, limit debate time, or suspend an MP for unparliamentary behavior. For example, in June 2024, Speaker Mutti's suspension of 17 MPs for whistling during the president's speech led to a walkout. A similar ruling on July 2, 2025 could have been the spark. Contentious legislation. The government may have tabled a bill or budget item that the opposition viewed as detrimental, such as cuts to social programs or allocations favoring UPND constituencies. Personal grievances. Opposition MPs may have felt personally targeted by the speaker or ruling party, especially if prior suspensions or legal battles, e.g. PF leadership disputes, were referenced. Public pressure. With Zambia facing economic challenges like high inflation and unemployment, opposition MPs may have walked out to protest the government's handling of these issues, using the session to amplify public discontent. Sequence of events. Debate escalates. A motion or debate on a sensitive issue, e.g. budget electoral reforms, leads to heated exchanges. Speaker's intervention. Mutti attempts to control the session, possibly issuing warnings or suspending an MP. Opposition reaction. Feeling marginalized, opposition MPs stage a walkout, leaving the chamber en masse. Media capture. The incident is broadcast live, with clips going viral on X and other platforms. 5. Speaker Nelly Mutti's reaction. Speaker Nelly Mutti, as the presiding officer, plays a critical role in maintaining order in Parliament. Her reaction to the outburst and walkout would have been pivotal in shaping the session's outcome and public perception. Likely response. Call for order. Mutti likely banged the gavel and called for order, urging MPs to resume their seats and adhere to parliamentary rules. Warnings and suspensions. If the chaos persisted, she may have issued formal warnings or suspended disruptive MPs, as she did in June 2024 when 17 MPs were barred for 30 days. Statement on procedure. Mutti would have defended her rulings, citing standing orders or parliamentary precedent to justify her actions. Continuation of session. After the walkout, she likely proceeded with the session, allowing the ruling party to dominate proceedings in the absence of opposition MPs. Public and political perception. Opposition criticism. Opposition MPs and their supporters likely accused Mutti of authoritarianism, arguing that her rulings stifled dissent. Posts on X may have included hashtags like #Nelly Mutti bias or #dictatorship in Parliament. Ruling party support. UPND MPs and supporters would have praised Mutti for maintaining order, framing the opposition's walkout as immature or disruptive. Neutral observers. Analysts and civil society groups may have criticized Mutti for failing to mediate effectively, arguing that her rulings exacerbated tensions. Historical context. Mutti's tenure as speaker has been marked by accusations of bias, particularly from the PF, who view her as an ally of President HHvsOpposition's UPND. Her handling of the July 2025 incident would have reinforced these perceptions, further polarizing the political landscape. 6. Opposition versus ruling party drama. The drama between the opposition and ruling party is a microcosm of Zambia's broader political fault lines. The UPND in power since August 2021, faces a fragmented but vocal opposition led by the PF, with smaller parties and independents adding complexity to the dynamic. Key points of contention. Power dynamics. The UPND's majority in parliament gives it significant control over legislative outcomes, frustrating opposition MPs who feel marginalized. Historical rivalries. The 2021 election, which saw Hichilema defeat PF's Edgar Lungu, left deep wounds. The PF accuses the UPND of targeting its leaders through legal battles, while the UPND claims the PF is obstructing governance. Policy disputes. Economic policies, electoral reforms, and constitutional amendments are frequent flashpoints. The opposition often accuses the UPND of prioritizing elite interests over public welfare. Parliamentary tactics. Both sides use parliamentary procedures strategically. Opposition MPs stage walkouts or disruptions, while the ruling party leverages its majority and the Speaker's rulings to push its agenda. Specific drama in July 2025. The July 2, 2025 session likely saw opposition defiance. PF MPs, possibly led by Brian Mundable or other firebrands, used the session to challenge the UPND's policies or the Speaker's impartiality. Ruling party response. UPND MPs, backed by Mutti's rulings, may have accused the opposition of grandstanding or undermining democracy. Escalation. The walkout would have escalated tensions, with both sides issuing statements to the media and rallying their supporters on X. Broader implications. The drama underscores a lack of trust between the two sides, with each accusing the other of undermining democratic norms. This polarization risks paralyzing parliament and eroding public confidence in governance. 7. Reactions from the public and media. The public and media reactions to the parliamentary chaos reflect Zambia's polarized political landscape and the growing frustration with governance. Public reactions. Support for opposition. Many Zambians, particularly PF supporters and those affected by economic challenges, likely viewed the walkout as a bold stand against a government perceived as out of touch. Posts on X may have praised opposition MPs for speaking truth to power. Frustration with parliament. Ordinary citizens, especially those struggling with inflation and unemployment, may have expressed dismay at the chaos, seeing it as a distraction from addressing pressing issues. Comments like, "MPs are fighting while we suffer," were likely common on social media. Polarized discourse. Social media platforms, particularly X, would have been abuzz with hashtags like hashtag Zambian Parliament, hashtag UPNDVSPF, or hashtag Nelly Mutti, with users divided along party lines. Media reactions. Zambia Reports and Lusaka Times. These outlets likely provided detailed coverage, with Zambia Reports taking a more critical stance toward the UPND and Lusaka Times offering a balanced or pro-government perspective. ZNBC. As a state broadcaster, ZNBC may have framed the incident as opposition obstructionism, emphasizing the need for order in parliament. International media. Outlets like the BBC or Al Jazeera may have briefly covered the incident, situating it within Zambia's broader political and economic challenges. Social media snapshot. A quick scan of X posts from July 2025 would likely reveal viral clips of the walkout with captions condemning or praising the opposition, memes mocking MPs' behavior or the Speaker's ruling, calls for dialogue or electoral reforms to address the dysfunction. 8. What happens next in Parliament? The aftermath of the July 2, 2025 incident will shape the immediate future of Zambia's Parliament and its ability to function effectively. Short-term consequences. Suspensions and sanctions. Speaker Mutti may suspend additional MPs involved in the outburst, as seen in prior incidents. This could further weaken the opposition's presence in Parliament. Legislative stalemate. The walkout may delay key votes on the budget or other bills, forcing the UPND to rely on its majority to push through legislation. Investigations. If the chaos involved serious breaches of parliamentary rules, a committee may investigate, potentially leading to further disciplinary action. Public statements. Both sides will likely issue press releases or hold rallies to justify their actions, with the UPND emphasizing governance and the opposition highlighting democratic erosion. Long-term implications. Erosion of trust. Repeated incidents of chaos risk further eroding public trust in Parliament, with citizens viewing it as a dysfunctional institution. Electoral impact. The drama could influence voter sentiment ahead of the 2026 general elections, with the opposition framing itself as a defender of democracy and the UPND emphasizing stability. Reforms. Civil society groups may push for parliamentary reforms, such as stricter rules on decorum or mechanisms to ensure impartiality from the Speaker. Procedural next steps. Resumption of sessions. Parliament will likely resume with tighter security and stricter enforcement of rules. Dialogue attempts. Behind-the-scenes talks between UPND and PF leaders may occur, though entrenched mistrust makes consensus unlikely. Media monitoring. The Speaker and parliamentary committees may monitor media coverage to address misinformation or public backlash. 9. Final thoughts. A broken house? The Zambian Parliament's repeated episodes of chaos raise serious questions about its functionality and legitimacy as a democratic institution. The July 2, 2025 incident is not an isolated event, but part of a broader pattern of polarization, mistrust, and institutional dysfunction. Is the house broken? Yes, Yes, structurally, the Parliament's reliance on a strong speaker and majority rule can marginalize the opposition, leading to walkouts and disruptions. Standing orders, while meant to ensure order, are often weaponized to silence dissent. Yes, politically, the UPND-PF rivalry, rooted in the 2021 elections and ongoing legal battles, creates an environment where cooperation is nearly impossible. Both sides prioritize political point scoring over governance. No, resilient. Despite the chaos, Parliament continues to pass budgets and legislation, suggesting a degree of functionality. The democratic process, while messy, allows for dissent and debate. Path forward. To mend the broken house, Zambia needs impartial leadership. A speaker perceived as neutral could reduce accusations of bias and foster dialogue. Parliamentary reforms. Revising standing orders to balance discipline with free expression could prevent future walkouts. National dialogue. A broader conversation involving political parties, civil society, and citizens could address underlying tensions. Economic progress. Addressing public grievances like inflation and unemployment would reduce the incentive for MPs to use Parliament as a protest stage. Broader context. The chaos in Zambia's Parliament reflects global trends of democratic backsliding and polarization. From the UK's Brexit debates to Kenya's recent parliamentary protests, legislatures worldwide struggle to balance dissent with governance. Zambia's case is unique due to its young democracy and economic challenges, but shares common themes of mistrust and institutional strain. Conclusion. The July 2, 2025 parliamentary outburst encapsulates Zambia's political challenges, a polarized landscape, a contested speaker's role, and a public desperate for solutions. The walkout, triggered by procedural disputes and deeper grievances, exposed the fragility of parliamentary decorum. Speaker Mutti's reaction, while procedurally correct, likely deepened opposition mistrust. The drama between the UPND and PF underscores a broader struggle for democratic legitimacy, with public and media reactions reflecting both support and frustration. Moving forward, Parliament must navigate these tensions to restore its credibility, but without reforms and dialogue, the House risks remaining broken.